back at the beginning of May, I was on a panel presentation for that, and then I also gave a solo presentation on the EIR document, and the feedback from that was pretty good. So yeah, kudos to those people. They really threw something pretty amazing together at the last minute, and they were working like mad to make it happen. I can tell you that. Yeah, a lot of interesting things, and we're talking about goes back to about, how do we get the owners up to speed and how do we help them? So the point of my presentation there was focused on it's the exchange information requirements document now. So really walking through people in a bit more detail about what goes in there and how do they put it together. And really in doing so, you're not just, drafting a document, but it becomes an exercise in thinking through what it is you're trying to accomplish anyways. So, you sort of, just go through the mental process and say, well, okay, I think we want to do this because we want this and this. And you come to the end and you can say, oh, wait, no, that's not what we're trying to do at all. Because sometimes something sounds cool, but then you get there, it's like, no, this has nothing to do with our operations. Then you can go back and refine it. And it's just, again, that mental exercise. Let's think it through. And as we commit it to paper, and then we said, well, yes, you know what? We do have issues because it's difficult going out to work on these assets and having the information in hand. And, whenever our techs are out there, they say, well, they got to run back to the office because they don't have this information. So great, then we can put that in and we understand what we need to do. We want to do life cycle costing. So let's jot that in. And all this stuff, and then you have this finished document, and then you hand it to your project team and say, this is what we need you to provide, and they go, oh, okay, we can do that. So yeah, that's one piece of the puzzle. But when I'm working with clients, let's say the most labor-intensive thing I'm gonna do is write an EIR, because that's a very thick, bulky, technical document. And the catch is it has to have every fact and figure you need in there, so you can't leave anything kind of vague or open-ended, because this is like, because maybe there's an earlier strategy document and say, well, okay, we're gonna think about X, Y, and Z. Well, this is a place where we define X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Exchange information requirements. You said it's the acronym for this.
Yes, so it was called the Employer's Information Requirements and the BS 1192 standards. And when it got converted to the ISO, I guess they decided that calling it Exchange Information Requirements was a bit more global friendly.
Broader, yeah.
Because it is a very awkward name. And, whenever I say it, people look at me kind of weird. But I mean, but that is the document. And actually, since we're talking about this, so most people out there understand what a BIM execution plan is, because, any project these days, whether it's actually BIM or not, someone's writing one up and it's just about 3D modeling and whatnot. But the message that hasn't gotten out is that the BIM execution plan is written as a direct response to the EIR. So if you don't have an EIR, whatever you put in your BEP, you're making things up. And again, every owner should be sitting there thinking, well, wait a minute, that's not a very good way to be going about this. We don't want people to just making things up. We're investing this capital because we have very real business uses here, and we need to accomplish something. We're not going to spend $20 million just because it seems like a cool idea. We're trying to get to a better place. We need this facility to support our business growth and give us a place to do what we need to do. So that's why we need to define this. And then we're going to put that out, and the project team is going to write a BIM execution plan in response. And then the owner is going to sign off on that and say, yes, the BEP, what you detailed there tells me that you can meet the requirements in the EIR. So it's this call and response thing where everyone's in sync. So it has to start with the EIR, and that has to be written by the owner. Again, there was a client that said, well, won't my architect do that for me? It's like, well, is your architect going to come by and change your lights when they go out? It's like, that's just, if they do, that's pretty nice, but is that what you want them focused on? You're paying an architect to focus on certain things, and then you have other stuff going on that, you know, maybe they're not the most qualified or the best suited for that. So you think, okay, why don't we just leave our architect to stick to the design here, and then our operations will handle ourselves, and the EIR is really part of your operations.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I think most of the organizations that have EIR is because they have people interested in BIM, and they have been exposed in a way or another. Like the ones who doesn't have people passionate or maybe willing to learn more about this will get a little bit harder the information too.
Well, that's exactly it. But at some point, you know, when they come to the conclusion that this is the right move for their operational model, I mean, that's what you need to do, you know. So I mentioned years ago, I worked in manufacturing, and so I was doing consumer products. And so down in the state of Mississippi, the company had opened a new plant, and they said, well, we need to, you know, improve our production of these specific products. So they invested, you know, into two automated assembly lines that cost $1 million each. You say, well, in order to do this is the investment we have to make. So for any owner, if they want to invest in BIM to improve their operations, part of that investment is writing their own EIR, or really you have me write it for you, but you sit down with me. But it's not something you do, you know, willy-nilly. And that, you know, and yes, you are going to have to buy some sort of software at the end. You are going to have to train your people and all this other stuff. But again, it's not one single thing. It's all pieces of the same puzzle.